All right, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the trade report video for the week of April 30th, 2017. So if we take a look here at the Dow, you can see here that we broke out through this descending trend line here. So it held this key support at 204 and put in a higher high after gapping through this descending trend line here. So that's a bullish thing for the Dow. Kind of looks like it's putting in kind of a bull flag pattern now. Got some resistance at 210, but overall the market looks pretty healthy. And so what I would be watching for is this, looks like it's kind of pulling back a little bit to kind of hold and then break out through 210. But in general, this is a pretty good looking action here as it breaks out through here and broke above this descending trend line and held this 204 level as support. So market's looking, relatively healthy right now. Similar story on the SPY, held to 232, so kind of a double bottom pattern here, and then broke out above this 236, which was a recent high. So it's now put in a higher high, and now what we're looking for is, maybe a pullback and then put in a higher low versus this low, and we kind of just stair step higher. That'd be the ideal situation here, but the market does look pretty healthy going forward. Small cap IWM broke out to all-time highs and then pulled back below this 140 spot, but overall still good. It's see this key support down here it held, right, and this was the breakout spot up here around 140. It's now broken back down below that, but it's still basically put in a higher high, okay, compared to these, so that's good. Now what you're looking for is to hold and put in a higher low versus this low and then ramp back up, and that's the ideal situation. So overall, market still looks pretty good at this point, although this North Korean news is still in the headlines. So if something were to happen with North Korea, I could see the market taking a pretty big hit if there was some kind of news about us attacking North Korea or something like that. So just keep that in mind. That's still in the headlines. Okay, let's take a look at the biotech index. Biotech index looks really good. Held this 288 spot, which was a key support level, and kind of broke this descending trend line here, and now it's just kind of grinding higher. So overall, I think there's should be some continuing opportunities in the biotech sector. Next resistance is up here at these recent highs around 303 area, somewhere in there, 304. But overall, the biotech sector does look good. Energy sector have been going down for quite a while. It's been kind of tough to read this energy sector. I kind of thought it put in a double bottom. Still looks like it could be bottoming out down here. So here was the recent low back in late March, around 67, 68, and then it held that level, pulled back, kind of rallied, and then so now it's testing it again. But this level needs to hold. If not, you're going to have another leg down. But that's yet to be determined. So it's a key pivot point here, the energy sector. We'll see if it can hold and then start to perk back up again. But all right, so let's get into some of the individual names. So I just want to say off the bat, my trading has I've been trying to day trade, and it's not really been the greatest because I'm not the greatest day trader. I'm better with swing trading. So I've noticed I'm getting chopped up a lot, and I have a feeling a lot of you guys are too with day trading. So I'm going to start stepping back and doing less day trading and more swing trading, since that's where I've really done well with. And it's just trying to catch every little movement is difficult, and it's mentally and emotionally kind of taxing on me. So I find that less is more when it comes to trading, and so really just try to step back, trade less, and focus on opportunities that can give you a several day run, so that you don't have to worry about jumping in and jumping out. And that's just me. Some guys like to catch the small intraday movements and so forth, but for me, and if you have a job and stuff, it's nearly impossible to do that type of stuff. So really just trade less, focus more on longer term charts. And if you have a trade that still technically looks good, but it's just, maybe it moves one day and then stalls the next day, that's okay. But just one thing that I'm really going to focus on is trading less, trying to catch longer term moves, because that's really where, and if you read about Jesse Livermore, that's one of the things he determined in his books. If you read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator, he really stressed that over time he learned that the big money was in the major movements. So trying to catch major moves and not just the smaller moves. Just kind of putting that out there, guys, because it's been choppy and tough on me trying to day trade. It's just so just got letting you guys know that. So let's get into some of the individual names on the watch list from last week. Just kind of see what they look like. So here's one that I had to take a loss on. So this one here, I tried to get this breakout through 20, and I thought this thing was going to go on this day. It ran back up and then put in, basically this was a double top, and I had to cut this thing. And honestly, I held it too long, and I had to cut this thing at like 18 bucks. So that was a bad trade on my part. But anyway, I know we all do it. Sometimes we know what we're supposed to do, but then we do stupid stuff. So the best way to do that is just close the trade out. If you're in a bad trade or you made a bad mistake, and just close the position out, because there's always another trade, and no matter when you cut your loss, there's always a chance that you're going to sell at the bottom and it rallies back up. I mean, that's really I think a big fear of a lot of people is that when you sell, it's going to turn around and go right back up after you sell. But then when do you actually take your loss? So you have to take a loss, and ideally you keep it small, within 5%. So, but I know we're human, right? So we make mistakes. But anyway, getting beyond that, fixing the bad trade, moving on. This one, to put that out there, this was one that I tried and didn't work, and I should have waited to let the break 20, but I didn't. I wanted to get in early, and so I took a hit on that one. So BLMN, here was one that was on the watch list through this 1980, somewhere in the 20 area, right in this. Take a look at the 100-day chart, or a little bit longer. There was some sector strength here with the restaurants, and so this one had a key spot right around this 20 area. So you can see back here it tested 20, and then in here and here and here, and as it broke through that could have been your trigger to get long. And you can see this one's had a pretty decent run. And if you did trade it, you would use this I would use this 1880 area, and then 20 would be kind of the breakout spot. So take the difference there. So what is that? $1.20, right? So then add that to the breakout, and then that's your first target, and then you could leave, a partial position on for a bigger move. Okay, so Wendy's was another one right here at this 1440 spot. It broke through that, so this is a new multi-year high, I believe, for this one. Take a look at, yeah, so there's a 3-year chart. You can see it's up here. And so now it looks like it's just going to flag up here sideways and probably continue higher. Restaurants sector does remain strong. Denny's another one here. It broke through this 1250 spot, had a few day move, and pulling back, probably put in a higher low. Might pull back to this area here, 1250, 1260, and then perk back up. But overall, the restaurants sector does remain strong. Okay, HUSA, this one, I still like this chart, but I did cut it. It had this breakout through 40 and had a really nice close. I thought it was going to gap and go, and it didn't. It kind of gapped and just kind of fell. But see, that's the thing about swing trading. If you have this position and you buy this thing through 40, and as long as it holds 40, then then that's your risk level, and then this thing could turn back up. So I'm still watching this one. I don't have a position in. I cut it for basically a small loss or break even. I forget. It was pretty tight, but overall this chart does look pretty good. It's kind of broken out above these recent resistance levels. So this one will remain on watch. It's HUSA. All right, Home Depot. So you have this consolidation range here. You have the rising 50-day, and you can see where it kind of held that 50-day, And then on this 150 spot, that was a trigger to go long. And you can see it's got a multi-day move there. And using profit targets, you could say 145 to 150. That'll give you a 155 target, so you would have taken some profits on this already if you were to trade that one. IMMY. So this is another bio that's just in this choppy consolidation. Looks like a bull flag pattern forming. So this one had a spot here at 425. Had a nice one-day move and then gave it back, and then perked up again, and now it's just kind of in this choppy range. I like this one. If it can get back up to 450 area, might be worth a buy for a breakout. It looks like it's just consolidating. Maybe the 50 day is going to catch up with it, but nothing technically at this point tradable that I can see. So just have to wait and see what comes on here. But overall, it's a bullish consolidation. It's just a choppy range, and once it gets done basing and consolidating, it should set up a nice pattern to where you can get this on a 450 breakout. Okay, CTRL, still like this one. Had this breakout through this 16 area, and I believe I cut this one at 1630, something like that. I did make money on this one. It's still kind of grinding higher, kind of sideways right now. Maybe it flags, pulls back, maybe it goes higher, but this overall, this is a strong chart. It does look like it's going higher. LLNW, this is another nice break. See, this one had a spot on this 260 area. So right in this area. You can see where it tested it once, twice back here, 3 times, 4, and then on this day would have been the day to get in on this break right here. You see the big volume spike that came into it, and then it did pull back, but technically it held above this breakout spot, and then it just rallied right back up in 2 big days. So that's one of those things with swing trading, is that as long as it's holding above the breakout spot, you should be able to hold that position and give it some time. And that time element is key for swing trading. That it's something that I've gotten away from lately that I'm going to have to get back into, because it's affecting my trading. So I'm going to really start honing in on longer term, multi-day holds versus just trying to catch 5-minute charts or day trades, because it's just not my forte. Some other people are really good with it, but Juno, still looks pretty good. It's a biotech, so the sector does look stronger. I would keep an eye on this one. It could get a perk up, maybe through this 25-50 area. Yeah, 25-50, something like that. But it's not the greatest looking chart. It just looks okay now, but the biotech sector does look healthy. Square continues to act well. So had this big breakout on earnings, I believe, kind of consolidated for a while, and then it just started to trend back up, broke through this area here, which was resistance, and then now it's broken above this resistance over here. So it just looks like it's consolidating, just resting, but it does look like it's going higher. It's fundamentally a good company as well. CSII continues to act well. Broke through this 2950 spot, just hanging out above that breakout level, and it does look like it's going to go higher. So this one's a healthy looking setup. In longer term, you see long-term trend is up on this one as well. Mindbody, once again, another long-term trend. Taking a look at this chart, you can see a lot of breakouts back here. Had a big break right here, had a break. Looks like it's about to break. Looks like it broke through 28, which is a key resistance. Now it's just kind of resting there. So this one, it does look like it's going higher. NB, slow mover, but it does look like it's going higher. Zen, another one that's been just not really getting anywhere, but technically still remains, still looks pretty good technically. So it broke through this area right around 28. Now it's just consolidating above 28. So if the market perks up again, this one can get some action. But overall, it still looks good. It just hasn't really gotten any momentum yet. Okay, SBBP. This is a biotech that I still really think this one looks good. It doesn't trade a lot of volume. You know, I think it traded what 50 or 60,000 on Friday. But technically, it's really pretty. It's spotted around 480. You know, it's tested it once, twice, 3 times, and then 4 times. So it looks like if it tests it again, it really might be worth a watch, because 4th and 5th times of testing a breakout, usually they'll actually get through that level. So I'd keep an eye on this SBBP through 480 next week, and then looking for a spike in volume as well if it gets through that level. You know, it has traded some pretty heavy volume in the past, so you could see some volume coming in potentially on the 480 break. That'd be a really good trade for next week. Okay, so Titan. This one had a nice break on this day. Did well with this one, made some money, and then the next day I believe I cut it, and it's just kind of pulling back here. Maybe it's gonna if it gets to 1560, it's probably gonna get a nice bounce, because this is the key breakout spot. So this one might be worth a trade as a breakout pullback to 1560 area for a bounce. Off of that might be worth using this 1560 as your risk on the daily. Still a healthy chart, but just pulling back. RXDX, a bio. This one kind of started to break out back here and looked pretty good, like it wanted to get through 950. So looks like it tried to get through on Friday, and it pulled back. But still, this is a healthy looking chart. It's back above the 50-day. It's been consolidating in this basing pattern for looks like a couple of months or more, and so I'd keep an eye on this one through the 950 area. Okay, ZGNX. This one, it definitely looks ready. It's been trying to break out through this 11 spot a couple times. On Thursday, it had a push, pulled back, and then Friday closed right there at 11. It's been testing this 11 for quite a while, and I do think this one's going to go any day now. So I'd keep an eye on this one for the last couple of days had some pretty good volume, relative volume. It's also kind of a thinly traded name as well, but it did have some decent volume the last couple of days. So this one on the 11 break, and then the next spot would be up here at 1141. So just keep an eye on this one. Technically, it still looks like it wants to go. It's just taking time. Okay, FMI. This is probably the prettiest chart for next week. This pattern here, this kind of basing pattern here, almost like an inverse head and shoulders, finally got through that 35 spot and closed at 35.50, I think, or this may be after hours price. It may have closed at like 35.20 or something, but anyway, this one looks really good. I mean, this is technically a very, very strong chart. I would use this 30 area as your base, your bottom, and then use 35 as the breakout. So potential target on this one would be 40, but this is probably technically the best looking setup for Monday. So okay, INNL. This one still looks intriguing. It's just consolidating in this kind of sideways action after have a big run up, and looks like there's a couple of key spots around like 250. So if this one can perk up near 250, it's a pretty volatile trade. So if it does perk up, you can see it has these really monster moves and just single day moves. So if this one starts to come alive with some volume, it'd be worth a watch. And next, so looking for a test of 240, 250, and then potential breakout from there. Okay, RARX, another bio, been consolidating in a basing pattern for quite a while. So if we take a look at this chart, the bottom of the base right down here around 20, and it's got a breakout spot right around this 2350 area. It closed right above that on Friday. Volume is pretty thin on this name, but it did have some decent relative volume on Friday. So this one, if it can get through and make a move, use 20 to 2350, so they give you a 350 target above the breakout. So 27 area, 2650, something like that would be a good target for this one if it can get going. Cala, this one looked like it was going to break through 12, didn't do it, kind of pulled back, so now it's back here at this support area around 10, between 1050 and 12 area. So nothing there now. Maybe if we can get back up near 12, might be worth a trade or a breakout buy through 12 area, and then maybe a retest up here if we can get going. IDRA, another one probably needs to just kind of base out and consolidate for a while. It's got this spot here at 260, ran up there, pulled back, still put in a higher low right here, tested it again, now it's pulling back again, so maybe it rallies back up and tests it a third time. But overall, longer term, the chart does look, looks pretty decent here in an uptrend. Could be a double top here where it may pull back and then consolidate and kind of put in an ascending triangle type pattern, but I don't see any trade on this one now. It failed the breakout, so nothing there now. Kite, another strong bio, basing out here. You see a big run up here, topped out around 87, pulled back, now it's sideways action. So this one looks like the 50-day moving average is catching up, so it could get some momentum and come alive here any day now. But overall, it's very constructive, bullish consolidation here, just basing out, and then looking for this thing to finally, eventually perk up and break out to new highs. AT&M, another pretty constructive looking chart that hasn't really. It doesn't look ready yet, but it looks like it's could set up nicely in the next week or two. So you had a big run up, pull back, and you can see how the pullbacks are getting shallower and shallower. It's holding the 50-day, and so I'd be watching this one through like 160 area. If you can get there, it'd be worth a trade. CVRS was one on Friday that looked good, and then it failed, so it's another one of those intraday moves, and then just pulled back. I think it closed all the way like 126. This must have been after hours price here at 133, but overall the chart still looks pretty good. If it can get back above 140 area, might be worth a trade again. So we'll just keep this one on watch. Overall, it still looks longer term, looks good. Just kind of failed the breakout on Friday, but it should set up again. I mean, the chart still looks pretty good. Okay, meat right around 6 was the high on this big gap, pulled back, tested it, put in a higher low, failed, and so this one, it does look constructive. Maybe it pulls back and then perks back up through 6 again, but overall 6 area looks good, and I think this one could break out through 6 area soon. Just keep that one on watch. Technically still looks good. SPWR solar. Tried to break through the 7 spot, didn't work, pulled back. So maybe this pullback gets bought up and then tests the 7 again. So technically I still like this one. Does look like it's bottomed out and looks like it wants to get through that 7 area. Just taking a little time. But this one's still one to keep on the radar. Pran, another volatile biotech, had a big gap up, I think, based on some other company's news, so it was like a sympathy play, and it just faded all day. We got all the way back near 3, which would have been a good intraday buy, because I think it perked back up at that level close to like 325. So, but overall, technically this one still looks valid. Maybe I would keep an eye on this spot up here, 350 area, 360. Maybe it rallies back to that spot next week. But very volatile biotech name. I think it's a very low floater too, so keep that in mind. Okay, PME is one that was on the watch list last week. Still constructive, kind of an ascending triangle pattern. Right through this spot up here, and you get this rising trend line. So you can see how it's getting tighter and tighter. So I like this one through the 5 area if you can get it. It's been basing for quite a while. Looks like it's ready to perk up. Okay, another one that looks good for next week is ABUS, ABUS. Right through this area right here. So 350 spot. Big breakout, pullback, consolidation. So this one's another one that's pretty thin. Trades a couple 100,000 a day. But if we get to 350, you can see a push higher there. It's a nice flag pattern after breaking out right here. So it just looks like it's flagging. Okay, PTN, really like this one. Big run up. Let's put a top in around 145. See that spot right there. Pulled back, tested this 145, or 45 cents, I'm sorry. So if it doesn't get through 45 cents, it'd be worth a trade. It's a penny name. But it does look like it wants to get through 45 and maybe make a push to 50 or something like that. So this one still looks good technically. LTBR looks like it bottomed out down here, kind of rallied, pulled back, and then now it looks like it's got a key spot right around 150. So you can see right back there was a spot right here, had an intraday spike to near 150, pulled back 150. So it's just, this one looks like it wants to get through 150 area, and you can see the volume on Friday was pretty good. So this is a decent looking setup to watch. LJPC, a bio. Big breakout, consolidated, pull all the way back, and then now it's looks like it's starting to bottom and put in a higher low. So this one, I'd watch this one through a push through 30, which would get it back above the 50-day. So a breakout through 30 might be worth a trade on this one. And like I said, the biotech sector does look healthy, so I think there should be plenty of opportunities there. Okay, last one, take a look at AAOI. So this one, longer term, strong bullish chart, had a big sell-off here, and then rallied back to near 50, pulled back, and then now it's just kind of flagging just below 50. So it's back above the 50-day, and this one technically, if it can get through 50, I think you could see a nice spike to 51 or 54. I'd probably use this 45 to 50, so I'd probably give myself a 55 target on this one if it breaks through 50. But overall, longer term, strong. I think fundamentally it's a strong company too. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. And so just keep at it. And the market does look good, but who knows with this North Korean news? But you just gotta be flexible and just personally, I'm going to be trading less frequently and trying to catch bigger moves. So keep that in mind. But all right, I hope you guys have a good Sunday, and I'll talk to you next week.